Hello and welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. My name is Harry McBain and joining me as usual is my co-host Bobby Addison. How are you doing, Bobby?
Hello, Harry. I'm doing great, thank you.
Now, joining us today is a man who's played at Wembley as well as in Spain and in the USA. It's former #United goalkeeper Andy Cade-Watts. Thank you for coming on. How are you doing?
No problem, guys. Yeah, doing all right. Thank you very much.
Now, obviously, many people will know you from #United, the YouTube football team, who are obviously semi-professional now. How did your hashtag journey begin?
My initial introduction to hashtag was through Seb. So we actually went to university together a good few years ago now. I was in my third year and Seb was in his first year. We played first team football together. And then Seb, obviously through Spencer, got involved with hashtag, started playing, and Dan Fazy was the initial goalkeeper for hashtag. Dan, I suppose, luckily enough for me, but also potentially for Dan as well. I mean, he's gone on to some good things. He actually worked for YouTube, and he moved across to America. So it meant that there was an opening. So through Seb gave me a call. I'd actually just stopped playing at that particular time. I hadn't played in goal for years. Until hashtag, I'd actually injured my ankle. So when Seb called and said, do you want to get back involved in football? It was good for me as well because it was just around the corner at the time from where I live. It was literally 15, 20 minutes away. It was supposedly once a month type game fixture arrangement, which kind of fitting with my life at the time. I knew Seb, I hadn't seen him really too often for a long time. I also knew Dan Brown, Phil Martin, John Dawson from uni as well. So I thought it was a good opportunity to get back involved with some of the guys there that I hadn't seen for a long time. So that was the initial introduction, four and a bit years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to think about because obviously it sounds like you got a lot of you there from uni. And I still remember, 4 years ago watching like the volley challenges and the penalty challenges on YouTube. And I was going, because obviously I was so shocked when you replied and said you come on. I was going around today at school being like, guys, do you remember #United 4 years ago? I'm going to talk to him tonight. And they're like, who are you on about? And I'm like, oh, come on, you've got to know this. But yeah, anyway. It must
who are you
be,
on about? Who's that
yeah,
guy?
I know, but don't worry, I don't forget. And obviously just from the start, it was always, just such a nice sort of group of people. And it's so interesting to see how it's progressed into something so big, obviously playing on the television. And, do you think that being involved with it was definitely a good thing for you? Because obviously now you've progressed onto your own YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of the experiences that we had through, we had some good footballers, don't get me wrong. I mean, like Dan Brown's a good footballer. I mean, personally, I never really hit the heights of any sort of footballing career as such. I said I played outfield after university for years. So to suddenly be put into a spotlight as such, it might not be in a big spotlight, but a spotlight as such, something you don't know anything about until you come into it. And then some of the experiences you had, you mentioned America, you mentioned Spain, some of the grounds that we got to play at, some of the tours that we were able to do. And then, like I say, playing at Wembley in front of 35,000 people is just something. I've still got my shirt on the wall there, got my other shirt that I've been telling myself I'm going to frame that, but I haven't yet. I will do just to put up in, I don't know, maybe a couple of the toilets of my house, just as a memorabilia. So it was amazing, brilliant experience.
Not too bad of a picture to stick on the wall, is it? It's a nice one to look at.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, when you were at the Wembley Cup, obviously, winning it is a bonus, but there was players on the opposite team. Gerrard and Heskey were some of the big names. What was it like playing and meeting such big footballing names?
Yeah, well, we've been really lucky to play against and play with some big names in football. One of the surreal moments for me at the Wembley Cup was I came out to collect a ball and then rolled out to William Gallas and didn't think anything of it. Whereas, how many years ago did he win the World Cup with France? In the same breath as well. Jimmy Conrad's a US international. He's captained his country, captain America as such, and I played with him on a Sunday morning once for the #United Sunday team. It's a surreal moment, and then being able to play in the Wembley Cup with the likes of Cafu. You mentioned Gerrard. Personally, I didn't get on very well with him, or Heskey, when he kind of went down a little bit too easily, potentially.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and there's been some other experiences with other ex-pros and bits that you just would never have thought was available to you. I mean, Dan Brown did it very well at the Wembley Cup then, because as soon as the final whistle went, I think he'd got some memorabilia. He'd either taken it out of the changing room already, or as soon as the final whistle went, he legged it into the changing room. I think he got a ball for Cafu to sign, a Brazil ball. He then, that was at the second one. He got some Gerrard memorabilia. I think it was a shirt and a picture, and just went straight on to Gerrard to make sure that he got his signed. So I wasn't as organised as him, so.
I mean, you've got to take your chances there. I mean, if they're going to be there, you've got to be prepared,
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, how far do you think hashtag, obviously, as Bobby mentioned, they're on the TV the other night through the BBC with the FA Cup rounds. How far do you think hashtag can go?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, the idealistic answer to that is as far as they want to go. But I think there are also, I'd love to see it. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see, 10 years time, hashtag United in the Football League, doing things that they're not be able to say have been part of it and at the beginning of it. It'd be interesting, however, about the actual business side of it, because that will kick in at a certain point. Because at the moment, I'm not too close with it. I obviously speak to Seb and whatnot, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. But there's a certain level that you can't show highlights for. The highlights will be packaged up and sold off to certain companies, and the likes of BT Sport have it, and the rest of it, which that will have an impact on hashtag and being able to package up the highlights they're currently doing to put them out on YouTube. So there is a business element to it, because ultimately it's a football club, it's a business. I mean, I'd love to see them be a sustainable entity, which they are now. I mean, the amount of YouTube football teams that came and went, there seemed to be a bit of a peak a couple of years ago, most probably at the Wembley Cup with the likes of Rebel. They went off and did something, didn't they? F2 then started one. And those two clubs are nowhere to be seen now. So, I mean, hashtag's shown that it's got longevity to it. It's definitely got the right people doing things behind the scenes. I mean, Spencer's incredible at what he does. Same with Seb and also Neil Smythe as well, who's big behind the scenes in terms of the operational element to it. And not, also Stampy and LP and those guys. It's a really good core group of people who really live and breathe it and really want to push it forward. So I'd love to see them in the Football League at some stage, and fighting for honours and Europe and all the rest of it. I just realistically, there'd have to be some big changes in the way that they do stuff in order to do that. And to be honest, I don't know if that's even part of their agenda. I don't know if that's what they want to do. I'm sure if in 5 years' time Spencer was able to turn around and go say that he's got a sustainable football club in a non-league with a women's team, a thriving youth section, they're a pillar of the community, they're doing things differently, they're putting the broadcast on the non-league side of things, which they're doing now, and he's got that. I think that would be an exceptional achievement.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as you see, a lot of people they're really supportive of what Spencer and what they're doing. You're seeing all the people going down to the matches and cheering them on. And I think it's just a great testament to how they've set it up, really, because there's, as you said, there's Rebel and there's other these teams that have come and they've gone. So I think it does just show that it does take the right people behind the scenes, just not just as important as the people actually playing, because to create something that everyone can enjoy and it can be sustainable is really important, obviously. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I played at non-league football, but the same sort of standard as hashtag last year and the year before, and there was, you play in front of one man underdog type aspect. Whereas if Spencer, just through the work that he's been doing and the hashtag brand overall, can bring a new breed of fans to non-league football and local clubs, because I mean the football at the top is definitely a split between the two, and how close do you feel to those superstars at your local club and whatnot, whereas you can get involved at non-league level, you can get to know the players. I mean, they are normal people, day jobs.
Yeah,
it is a big effort for those guys as well to work. I was going to say a 9 to 5, but it might not be a 9 to 5, and then go off, travel, play football, come home and go through it all again. It's a big ask, and you've got to be committed to it, and those guys definitely are.
We mentioned earlier, obviously, about the Wembley Cup, and lots of things have come up in recent weeks about certain individuals. Did you ever come into contact with the best on the ball player at Arsenal?
Yeah, you want my take on this? I mean, I've watched some of those videos, and to be honest, I'm surprised. Am I a little bit surprised that it's taken this long for people to say things potentially? I mean, the F2 are massive, aren't they? They've obviously got a big clout on things. I mean, I've only met Billy once or twice, and Billy comes across as a really nice guy. Chatted away about various things, you know, normal guy. I mean, Jeremy, I've got no time for him whatsoever. You know, I could go into quite a bit of detail. I was in the bar at the end. You know, I didn't see everything that happened with Stephen Tries, but yeah, there was quite a bit of trying to taunt. Like trying to get a reaction out of people, making out as if. I mean, it was the second time for us at the Wembley Cup. Don't get me wrong, would have loved to have won it. You know, we played one game, half an hour, and we didn't get through. It's not like it's not a big thing. It would have been nice to win it, like I say, and it was an amazing experience, and it's great to do it. But the way that he was going on and doing stuff and trying to get a reaction out of people in a place where you'd expect better, personally.
Yeah, I mean, especially someone it's not like he's young, is he? And he's going to be like, oh, sorry, I did something stupid. Like, he's built up a brand, he's built up his name. And for somebody to be so successful, and you think that they'd have a bit more sort of maturity maybe, but I don't know. I think a lot of the people that are involved in the Wembley Cup don't want to look over that and just see as a bad event, because obviously it's made many amazing memories for a lot of people that are involved with it, and I think just to remember it, that would be a bit of a shame, wouldn't it? So I think,
I mean, I've got 2 young kids now, and I'd want my 2 young kids to look up to certain individuals that I know that morally have got, you know, good morals about them. So I'd put that to one side. I mean, his conduct and behaviour was wrong at the Wembley Cup, in my opinion, and the stuff that went on in the pre-matches, whatever that tournament as well, was just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Again, very questionable. I mean, like I say, I've got young children. I had a young child then. I've taken a day off work. I wanted to get home, and then suddenly you're hanging around for 2 hours because they want to have a petty argument over 2 minutes of a match. Just put everybody out. I mean, it was crew, teams, all to listen to the F2 and whatnot. I mean, it's an absolute, I was going to say, an abuse of power as such. Way to get people the wrong side completely, because everyone's got a life to lead. It's not just all about those guys. And it turned out that day was then all about those guys. And they're there to be shot at. They've got millions of subscribers. He's going to buy himself a Lamborghini. You know, you're going to put himself in a certain area where, it's just really disappointing.
You're a Wolves fan. How they're obviously doing very well after coming up from the Championship a few seasons ago, and they've made great progression. How do you see this season going? Do you think that they're going to be getting a Champions League spot this year? Obviously, that would be a dream. Yeah,
I would like to say. I mean, we've been Premier League 2 years now, and to get Europa League and then on the cusp of the Europa League places, I think it's amazing. We've obviously got quite a bit of backing. We seem to be getting as many Portuguese players in as possible. Not sure how those guys would get on with a Black Country accent, but you never know. Are we going to get top 4 now? We're not going to get top 4. Absolutely love it too, but I mean, if we finish top 10 again, great. If we get a Europa League spot, even better. That's as far as I think we can see it. I mean, having lost Jota and Doherty, I think they're 2 big players. Now brought in Barcelona right back in there as well, and got a young striker as well. So they are replacing those players. It's just whether or not they're at the same quality as those players. I mean, what's been done at Molineux has been brilliant. It's far away from the time I had a season ticket and used to watch trying to get into the playoffs of the Championship or Division wasn't as it was then, and watch some terrible football down at Molineux. It's much better being a Wolves supporter now than it was when I was living in Wolverhampton.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely with Nuno and the football he's playing there, it is nice, especially with Leeds and Bielsa as well. It's nice to see sort of teams coming up from the Championship playing exciting football, and obviously you do see a lot of teams come up, they're part of the bus, and they hedge their bets on whether they can get the points against the bigger teams. But I just think it is really interesting to see a lot of new teams coming up and playing exciting football. And you're seeing Liverpool buying Jota and then Tottenham getting Doherty. So they're definitely getting the talent in the teams. It's just the question of maybe keeping and being sustainable and staying in the Premier League and then going for those European spots, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Sheffield United last year as well. I think out of those teams there, I think Leeds look like they might concede quite a few goals this year, which might be their undoing. Sheffield United play nice expansive football with their overlapping centre halves and whatnot, but are they going to go through a bit of a questionable second season syndrome? I don't think they're going to do as well as last year, but I do think there are worse teams in the league, so I think they'll be all right. But yeah, I mean, everyone wants to watch really, and talk about football as an entertainment sport. You want to watch good entertaining football with goals galore, chances and whatnot. Obviously some management like that, other management don't.
Obviously you have now that you're doing your own thing, you're progressing with your channel, and you're doing your Tuesday Talks podcast, talking to people, giving your goalkeeper tips. Where do you sort of see your podcast going? Because I remember Spencer said something the other day about him being sort of comfortable with where he is in terms of getting recognised. And do you think you're sort of at a nice level where you can keep your family life but also enjoy with YouTube sort of in a way?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I've never really 100% focused on the YouTube stuff. It's always been a sideline for me doing something because I enjoy it. And I think it's always going to be like that because I've got a full-time job, I've got a career, I've got a family, I've got other things that take my focus and are more important to me. I do like doing things like that. I mean, I do things on my channel because I enjoy them. I don't necessarily do it because other people are asking for them. And if you looked at YouTube and Tuesday Talks and whatnot, the number of views on it, that'll be questionable if those were to continue, if it was purely a numbers game for it. But I felt that was something that I wanted to do, talk to pros about their journey and how they overcame certain obstacles and what they would do differently if they were to do it again, or any tips and tricks that they could pass on, which then hopefully my followers, that being the majority of them young kids themselves, or young goalkeepers, could be able to take some of that. So it's never been a kind of 100% focus on it. You can see that from my upload schedule. I mean, it's kind of a little bit up and down and here and there because it takes time to go off and film stuff and organise it and then edit it, and trying to fit that in with everything else can be a little bit difficult. I'd love to focus more on it. I'd like to do more stuff to it, but ultimately it doesn't make me any money at all. So, I've got to live, I've got to support a family and a house and kids and stuff. So, I'll do it because I enjoy it. So if you've got any ideas of anything I should be doing, then please let me know.
Now, a talking point that's also come out about recently in the footballing world, especially in England, really, is the fact of who should be England's first choice goalkeeper. Obviously, the latest squad, the 3 goalkeepers selected: Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, and Nick Pope. Who, in your opinion, should be getting that number 1 spot?
Oh, what a question that is. Well, maybe Gareth Southgate and maybe
Pop on a waistcoat.
I think one of the I look good in a waistcoat actually. I think one of the issues that England goalkeeping has had over the last few years is that in terms of I suppose a hierarchy of quality of football, you could argue that Champions League football is a better quality than international football, but you'd like to put international football at the top. Maybe of the pyramid, then Champions League, then Europa League, then Premier League, or ideally you want your goalkeeper to play at the highest level, and you want them to play consistently at the high level, and you want them to have consistently good performances at the high level. When you look at those 3 goalkeepers who have been mentioned, then they don't play Champions League football. They don't necessarily play Europa League football either. So they're not necessarily, although they've come through England ranks, Dean Henderson and Jordan Pickford have, Nick Pope's been in and around squads, but do they have the necessary experience and quality behind them in order to play consistently at that top level? Same with, you'd ask your goalkeeper or the top English players as well, playing at the top teams. They play for, or Dean Henderson anyway, last year was breakthrough season was at Sheffield United. No offence to Sheffield United, all good team, and I can't remember where they finished last year, top 10, weren't they? Just around Wolves sort of thing, 6th, 7th, 8th, around there. Burnley struggled a little bit. And then Everton and Jordan Pickford were a mid-table team. So we don't have goalkeepers, although we've got good goalkeepers, don't get me wrong. They're not playing at the highest level. They're not an Edison, an Alisson, a De Gea of a few years ago. there. So there's always that argument and that question mark about them. I mean, out of those three, who would I play? I mean, Dean Henderson's now gone back to Man United, so he needs to play regularly there. Is he going to do it? I doubt it. You know, he played a Carabao Cup game the other day. He's most probably going to be the cup keeper, you know, take Romero's position there. And I can't see De Gea not playing unless he's going to move on. For him, Pickford is in the spotlight again after his two goals against Fleetwood the other night. Nick Pope. I like Nick Pope as a goalkeeper. His brother played the other night against #United and also looked very good. So to answer your questions, I don't know. I just sit on the fence and get splinters. I'd most probably go at the moment for Nick Pope out of those three currently, but I do like Jordan Pickford, and when he's played for England, I don't remember him doing anything but good things.
Making any mistakes. Yeah. Brilliant.
So, you know, do you take your form from your club into your country? Do you not? Well, that's why Gareth Southgate's paid the money that Gareth Southgate is paid, and quality people to make those decisions to put the best team out.
Yeah, obviously it is a difficult one to answer. Maybe just cap off the episode. One question that we have adopted to ask our guests is, if you could have a sort of a dinner party and you can invite 3 footballers, dead or alive, who are you bringing to your dinner party to have a chat with?
You put me on the spot here a little bit. I'm going.
Well, maybe 2 if you can't quite think of 3.
I'm going to go with Gordon Banks.
That's
yeah. I mean, well, he's the only English goalkeeper to win the World Cup. Also, I remember I was in year 6, so this is many, many years ago. How old are you in year 6? Like 12 or something. To write an essay, and I wrote an essay on Gordon Banks. So I'll bring him in. Carried on playing. No, didn't he retire after losing sight in one of his eye, and then went to America and carried on playing a little bit. So I'd love to chat to him about that, about his England experiences lifting the World Cup and whatnot. I mean, you could go down a similar vein and say Pele. You know, Pele, Maradona. If you want to go back to some characters in there. Zidane, I'd love to speak to Zidane. What a player Zidane was. I'm going back a little bit here. I'm showing my age a bit in terms of what. I mean, my goalkeeper growing up, the goalkeeper that I watched a lot was Mike Stahl down at Wolves, was a great goalkeeper. But in terms of the goalkeeper at the time was Peter Schmeichel. So I'd love to speak to him about that and about stuff. And then, you know, when I was playing outfield for a bit, I always loved Steven Gerrard. You know, to be able to play in a game with him in it was just phenomenal. And I've actually, through hashtag as well, and through Seb, Dan Brown and I managed to get to Portugal and go on a golf day, go play with. Although we didn't play with Steven Gerrard, he was out and about. It was for his charity, so got to meet him afterwards and have a long chat with him then and stuff. So that was good. I got my photo then. So yeah.
You remember to bring your memorabilia that time for a nice little signed picture.
No, I did. I got a photo. Photo of him in his Liverpool kit signed. Most probably in the drawers just down there as well somewhere. Just get that on the wall. So yeah, I mean that's about 12. So I've got to narrow it down to 3. Gordon Banks is 1. I'm going to go with Maradona for the other one. If you haven't seen the documentary on Maradona, that is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I have actually. Yeah, just make sure he's
yeah, got anything up his nose. And I've got to give you a third one, right? Zidane. I'm going to go with Zidane. I mean,
good trio.
Yeah, what a phenomenal player Zinedine Zidane was, and I'd love to know what was going through his head in that World Cup final.
I mean, Materazzi's chest was one of them, wasn't it?
That is some brilliant names there. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Andy. It's been great chatting to you.
No problem. Enjoyed that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to share with your friends. It's goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me as well.
Thank you for listening. That was The Final Whistle.